This is my interpretation of the short story In Another Country, written by Ernest Hemingway in 1926. This short story is one of Hemingway's earlier pieces, written post-World War I. He worked as an ambulance driver abroad during the war until he was injured and then sent back to the States. He would later fight in World War II and would be involved in the Spanish Civil War. In his lifetime, Ernest witnessed a great deal of war and death, which often translated into his own writing. This short story depicts wounded soldiers in Italy during World War I taking refuge in a hospital. The main character is an American, likely reflecting Hemingway himself, and is surrounded by Italian soldiers. The American observes that the three boys with him are all from Milan, Italy, and he believed to be the same age as them, relatively young. He described a boy who, after facing injury, had his whole face reconstructed and wears a black handkerchief across his face. All these men were considered prestigious and had obtained medals and were wearing them from the war. The story starts with a description of the hospital, the men wounded inside, an overall environment which is very grim and melancholy. And this is conveyed through words such as dark, stiff, dusk, empty, and cold. Words such as these and others provided descriptions to help set the mood for the story. The depiction of wounded soldiers in war creates a very dark mood and idea of hopelessness for these soldiers. The choice of ending the story with the death of the soldier's wife creates the idea that the outcome of all soldiers' experiences in war results in death in some type of way, which really emphasizes this mood as well as the themes that are expressed. After the description of the environment, the soldiers proceed to a cafe where they converse. The Italian soldiers take judgment on the American's accent and leads further to conversation on what the American plans to do after the war. One of the Italian soldiers tells him not to marry unless he wants to lose everything. Knowing this man lost his wife, this greater builds the theme of love and loss. This story has become a timeless piece for its message on war and what soldiers endure through. Those currently fighting in wars such as Afghanistan can look to this story and relate on its message to love, loss, and death. This story allows for an outsider's insight into the gloom and loss of war.